What is happening with these void years? Eric DeCosta is getting more aggressive than ever with these void years. He just restructured Marlon Humphrey's contract, which is not a surprise, but when you look at the details, it is surprising and kind of makes me wonder what's next. So the Ravens have done a max restructure with Marlon Humphrey. They did not extend him. It is just a restructure, reducing his $18 million salary and roster bonus to the league minimum of $1.255 million and converting $16.745 million to a bonus. 2 void years were added to do this, and the restructure nets $13.396 million in cap space right now. So a few things stand out from this. It's obviously not surprising at all. We were expecting a Marlon Humphrey restructure or extension. I think we now got the answer. It is not an extension. They are not going to extend Marlon Humphrey, which does probably put his future after this season with the Ravens in doubt because they are not offering him more years. They just restructured this year. And we needed to clear cap. We know that, after the recent signings of DeAndre Hopkins and Tylan, Wallace, and Jake Hummel. I'm going to talk about some of those new signings a little bit later in this episode as well. But after those signings, we're basically back down to zero. So we needed to create cap for other free agent moves and then to sign the draft picks next month. So not surprised that we restructured Marlowe's contract and created this much cap. But I am surprised about the void years again and how aggressive one contract of cap clearing is. This is just Marlon Humphrey's contract, and we cleared $13 million in cap room, which basically, if this is the only move that we make when it comes to contract restructuring or extensions, which I don't think it will be, but if this is the only move, then we'll know this was created just to have enough breathing room for the rest of free agency and the draft. And obviously, talks with Roquan or Lamar didn't go as planned, and we weren't able to extend and or restructure those guys right now. Or we still are going to make those moves. We still are going to clear more cap. And if that's the case, being so aggressive with lowering Ronnie's first-year number and adding 3 void years to his contract, now restructuring Marlon's contract and adding 2 more void years, if we trade Mark Andrews and clear cap, or do another restructure with Roquan, or extend Lamar and clear a bunch of cap, the Ravens are going to make a move. I mean, there's no other way to look at it. As of right now, you can't say that's going to happen because we just have enough breathing room. So if this is the only move, I get it. But I would be shocked if this is the only move. I didn't expect us to clear cap so aggressively per person. I think that's what I'm surprised about. Is we signed Ronnie to the big deal. Awesome. Bring him back. But we added 3 void years. There are consequences to void years. We have to eat a lot of dead money while they're not even on our team. So adding 3 years, we'll have 3 years of dead money when Ronnie's not on our team. And now Marlon Humphrey, we're going to have 2 void years of dead money when he's not even on the roster. So there has to be a reason for this. And I can't think of any other 2 directions outside of we couldn't do any other restructures with many people. We weren't really able to come to terms and clear a lot more cap. So we had to get aggressive with void years with just Marlo and Ronnie just to get some breathing room. That's one avenue here. But the other avenue is we are aggressively clearing cap, and there are more restructures, trades, extensions on the way. We haven't extended anybody. We were talking about Marlon Humphrey possibly being that extension. That has been answered. He's not getting extended. They restructured and cleared $13 million with his contract and added 2 void years. So is a Derrick Henry extension coming? Is a Roquan Smith restructure coming? That's a big contract that has a lot of ability to be restructured. A Matabike restructure could happen. A Lamar Jackson extension is something that I think we definitely should do, and maybe they already talked about it. Like I said, this being so aggressive with just 2 guys would make sense if Lamar and them couldn't come to an extension agreement and we weren't able to clear a lot of other cap, so we had to get this aggressive. But if we're about to clear a lot more cap than that, we're going to have quite a bit of cap, and you don't do that for no reason. You don't add a bunch of void years for no reason. So it kind of tells me that the Ravens have something a bit bigger planned, or they just want to have the flexibility. You know, if something does come up, maybe they went so aggressive with Ronnie and Marlon that they know they're good right now, right? We have enough. If we don't really sign many other people in free agency and then we just draft, we probably have enough cap right now. So this move essentially barely gets you through the rest of the offseason. And if no dream opportunity comes up that the Ravens want to go pounce on, then they don't have to clear more cap. Maybe that's the plan. You know, we've cleared enough or almost enough that we don't have to add more void years. We don't have to keep getting more aggressive. We should be good. But if an opportunity does come up, let's say Jair Alexander gets cut. I'm just tossing a name that's been tossed around out there. Let's say he gets cut, and now we're like, hey, we want to go spend some money and get a corner. Now we easily can clear more cap by the other restructures, you know? So maybe that's the plan. I don't know. That's why I'm confused as to what exactly is happening. Just this move alone's not confusing or surprising. But the amount of void years, we have added 5 void years of dead money just on Ronnie and Marlon's contracts. It's hard to believe that that's just for nothing unless we just are unable to clear cap in any other way. And it does bring up the question of like, what's actually going to happen with Mark Andrews then? Because this would kind of tell me that maybe we're just holding on to him. Because if we also trade Mark Andrews and clear even more cap, then that once again alludes to a bigger move or multiple more signings. This type of aggressiveness just makes me feel like the Ravens are not even close to being done to building out this roster, and that doesn't include the draft. But if a month or so goes by and we haven't done any other cap clearing moves, then we'll look back at this and be like, oh, they were this aggressive because they had to be. We had to clear the cap just to even sign the guys that we've already signed and the draft picks. And it was a move out of necessity, and we aren't taking any more risk in clearing cap with Roquan, Matabike, Lamar, etc. So I don't know. I don't know what the plan is. I was not shocked by the restructure, very shocked of the multiple void years again, also in combination with Ronnie's contract to make sure that he had such a low cap hit this year and next year. We're talking about $5 million cap hit for Ronnie this year. Marlon now has a $1 million cap hit. They're aggressively getting low cap hits this year, and I know we're tight against the cap. I get it. But we can clear so much more money easily. It's just shocking that we're clearing so much with such a small amount of contracts. I thought we were going to restructure, extend a few, and clear, a total of 20 million or whatever. And we're clearing 13 just for Marlon. It's just aggressive. It's aggressive because those void years do come back to bite you. And I'm not mad at being aggressive. Let's stack this roster as much as possible. Let's do everything we can to go win a Super Bowl this year and beyond. So I'm fine with being aggressive. I just, if we're being this aggressive, I kind of want to be all in aggressive then. You know what I mean? Like it is weird to take this much dead money on in void years just to survive the offseason. I feel like if you're going to start stacking some dead money and go the full Eagles route, which is just having void years everywhere so you have a bunch of low cap hits up front, if we're doing that, then do that with Roquan right now. Do that with Matabike. Extend Lamar and knock his cap hit down 20 million. Now we got 30, 40 million cleared up. We could be that aggressive if you want to be. You could go get the Mekhi Becton who's still sitting out there. So we'll see how it ends up playing out. I don't know exactly what the direction is, but this does start to explain things a little bit. It gives you a little insight as to where the Ravens are headed, because we're either just trying to survive the offseason financially, or we are aggressively clearing cap to be able to pull off a trade, sign a guy who's cut like a Jair, go after a Mekhi Becton who many people are saying we can't afford now. There's a lot more options if you want to clear the cap space, and we could really take this roster to an even higher level. Even though it's extremely talented, we can bolster it even more and essentially go the all-in route. So we'll see how it ends up playing out. This is where we're at right now. I don't think we're going to add to the receiver room because we did sign Tylan Wallace yesterday, and I talked a little bit about this at the end of the live stream. I went live with Hendo last night. If you guys haven't checked that out, go check that out if you want. I know everyone wasn't there. I wasn't even talking about it, but we had like 200 viewers, man. So shout out to you guys. I definitely was not expecting that. I never go live, but I think I'm going to start going live like once a week and just having guests on, or I'll go live whenever I can get guests on. I think that was a cool experience. You guys seem to enjoy it. So anyway, we talked about Tylan Wallace at the very end of that because the news broke at the very end, like hour and 5 minutes into the stream. So it's not the first time I'm talking about it, but I wanted to include it in a normal video. But I'm happy Tylan's back. I think it's a safe move to add more depth to the roster. You know, I predicted that we would re-sign him. I'm not surprised by this move at all, and I'm for it. You know, it's a cheap depth receiver. I don't think it moves the needle a ton, but it gives us some special teams presence. He's versatile as well. I know he didn't thrive at punt returner, but if needed, he could be a punt returner if you know, we have an injury to the starter or something like that. But it does tell me that we probably will not be signing a receiver, another receiver in free agency. We might draft a young receiver, but I do not think we're signing anyone else because now we have 5 receivers under contract, not including anyone that we're drafting, not including the reserve guys as well. So, you know, I would say that 5 is pretty locked in, and then you could add a 6th in the draft. We may not need that guy we draft this year, but it's important to keep that pipeline going. You know, you never know what's going to happen down the road. The Ravens don't like to pay receivers. So who knows what's going to happen when Zay Flowers is up for big money. Who knows what's going to happen when Bateman's up for his next deal? You know, you just don't know what the Ravens are going to do. So I do expect them to continue to draft receivers, but I don't think we're going to sign anyone else because we signed Hopkins and then also Tylan. Now we're at 5. I mean, there's just really no room to bring in another veteran at this point. If we didn't bring back Tylan, I would have still said their door was open to go make another move, but bringing back Tylan kind of tells you where their head's at. So I think the top 3 receivers are definitely Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, DeAndre Hopkins, and then Tez Walker, Tylan Wallace, and probably a rookie will round out the depth. And speaking of DeAndre Hopkins, the Ravens officially announced the signing today and are hosting a press conference tomorrow at 1:30. Ronnie Stanley also will be speaking with the media after that. So look out for that tomorrow. They also had Jake Hummel in the building today to sign his contract. We signed him yesterday as well for some linebacker depth, and he's a special teams ace. So I think the Ravens are trying to lift their special teams, and we lost some key special teams guys with Chris Board, Malik Harrison, and that also is linebacker depth loss. So I think Jake Hummel kind of fills both of those areas. You get a really quality special teams player and then also some linebacker depth too. He's only 26, so we'll see what he ends up bringing. I don't know a ton about Jake Hummel, but special teams ace sounds good to me, man. We haven't had one of the best special teams players in the league in a while, so I'm excited to have somebody out there who can make some plays. I know he blocked that punt against Buffalo for a touchdown, so I'm down with anybody who's out here going to make some plays for the Ravens, man. Let's get it. But that's it for today. Let me know what you guys are thinking about everything. Appreciate you tuning in to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll let the greatest linebacker in the history of the game take us out.
Ravens Flock. The Flock Rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. The Flock Rundown. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly. Tune in.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.